As a brain doctor with years of experience treating stroke and neurovascular disorders, I'm genuinely shocked by how a common food combination can silently raise the risk of stroke, especially in seniors. Recent studies have shown that the pairing of processed meats, like bacon, sausages, or deli meats, with refined carbohydrates, such as white bread, or sugary cereals, can significantly increase inflammation and blood pressure, two major contributors to stroke. This combo is not only high in sodium and saturated fats, but also spikes blood sugar rapidly, which over time damages blood vessels and impairs circulation to the brain. For seniors, whose arteries may already be narrowed due to age, this dietary trap becomes especially dangerous. Many older adults unknowingly eat these foods for convenience or taste, unaware of the long-term neurological risks. I urge my patients to replace these with healthier alternatives like lean proteins, whole grains, and fresh vegetables. Nutrition plays a powerful role in brain health, and avoiding harmful food pairings could prevent life-altering strokes. As shocking as it is, the link is clear, and it's time we prioritize stroke prevention through smarter dietary choices. Your brain is too valuable to risk on the wrong plate of food. As a brain doctor, I'm utterly astonished that a deceptively common food pairing, namely, the combination of processed meats and refined carbohydrates, can quietly raise stroke risk, particularly in seniors. While most warnings about diet focus on single food groups, this particular synergy of highly processed, salty meats plus fast-digesting carbs produces metabolic and vascular havoc that can accelerate neurovascular injury. 1. Emerging evidence: processed meats plus refined carbs equals brain health. Hazard large. Prospective studies have established that even one daily serving of processed or red meat, including bacon, ham, sausages, salami, and other cured meats, is associated with roughly a 14% increased risk of ischemic stroke, the most common type of stroke, as well as elevated risks of dementia and cognitive decline. These meats are rich in saturated fat, sodium, heme iron, and, in the case of processed varieties, nitrites and nitrosamines, all of which contribute to atherogenesis, hypertension, and endothelial damage. Refined carbohydrates, white bread, sugary cereals, pastries, and similar foods cause rapid blood sugar and insulin spikes. Over time, this contributes to insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome, and inflammation, all of which damage blood vessels throughout the body and brain. When these two elements are consumed together, say bacon and white toast, or sausages with refined cereal, the metabolic stress is amplified. The saturated fat, sodium, and preservative load from the meats, combined with glycemic surges from the refined carbs, produce dual fuel for vascular inflammation, oxidative stress, and dysregulated lipid metabolism. 2. Brain-specific pathways: why seniors are especially vulnerable. In aging individuals, arteries often show loss of elasticity, plaques in cerebral vessels, and impaired autoregulation of cerebral perfusion. Repeated exposure to high sodium contributes to chronically elevated blood pressure, which is a leading modifiable risk factor for both ischemic and hemorrhagic stroke. Sodium and nitrites also promote endothelial dysfunction and oxidative injury in brain vessels. At the same time, the glycemic shocks that follow refined carb ingestion can damage the microvascular network and glial environment in the brain over time. Add chronic inflammation from processed meats, partly through disruption of gut microbiota by food additives such as emulsifiers and preservatives, and the generation of pro-inflammatory metabolites, and you accelerate neurovascular aging. A recent large cohort study of more than 30,000 adults aged 45 plus followed for approximately 11 years revealed that individuals whose diet included a higher proportion of ultra-processed foods, UPFS, a category that includes processed meats plus refined carb-rich packaged, refined foods, had about a 9% increased risk of stroke and a 16% greater risk of cognitive impairment compared to those with less UPF intake. Individuals in the highest quartile of UPF received roughly a quarter or more of total daily calories from such foods. Adjusted for age, sex, blood pressure, and other covariates, the results persisted. For patients who follow other generally healthy diets, such as Mediterranean, DASH, or MIND, even small amounts of ultra-processed foods erode the protective effects of those patterns, particularly in older adults. 3. Mechanisms underlying stroke. Risk, the double whammy effect. A. Hypertension and sodium load. Processed meats are often high in sodium, designed for flavor and preservation, which promotes fluid retention, vascular pressure elevation, and hypertensive damage to cerebral arteries. Frequent high glycemic meals exacerbate this by causing insulin spikes that lead to sodium retention and sympathetic nervous system activation. B. Atherosclerosis and lipid elevation. Saturated fats in processed meats raise LDL cholesterol and accelerate atheromatous plaque formation in cerebral arteries. Heme-iron may further catalyze oxidative stress in vascular endothelium, facilitating arterial stiffening and occlusion risk. SANOC, inflammation and gut-brain axis. Additives in ultra-processed foods alter gut microbiome, triggering systemic inflammation. Inflammatory molecules, such as lipopolysaccharides and short-chain metabolites, can breach the blood-brain barrier, fueling vascular inflammation in cerebral. D. Glycemic spikes and endothelial injury. Refined carbohydrates provoke glucose surges, followed by reactive hypoglycemia, leading to repeated injury cycles in microvascular endothelial cells. This impairs nitric oxide-mediated vasodilation, reduces cerebral perfusion reserve, and raises thrombotic risk. 4. Why seniors should be extra cautious. Aging brains and vessels possess diminished resilience. Seniors often contend with pre-existing hypertension, atrial fibrillation, small vessel disease, and insulin resistance. Each insult compounds. Even modest sodium loads raise stroke risk more when baseline blood pressure is elevated. Glycemic surges stress aging pancreatic and vascular systems. Chronic inflammation accelerates amyloid deposition, white matter lesions, and small vessel ischemia. Cognitive decline and stroke risk reinforce each other in a vicious cycle. Given that studies show measurable effects over years, like the approximately 11-year Massachusetts General Hospital cohort, this pairing of processed meat and refined carbs over a lifetime translates into significant cumulative risk, especially after age 65. 5. Dietary patterns that disrupt this risk. Evidence strongly supports diets rich in unprocessed or minimally processed plant-based foods, such as fresh fruits and vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts, fish, lean proteins, and extra virgin olive oil. Following Mediterranean, DASH, or MIND diet frameworks has repeatedly been shown to reduce risk of stroke, heart disease, and dementia, even after adjusting for other lifestyle factors. Replacing just 10% of daily ultra-processed food calories with minimally processed alternatives may lower risk of cognitive decline by approximately 19% and dementia by approximately 25% in older adults. 6. Practical meal advice for seniors. Avoiding the dangerous combo. Avoid pairing processed meats with refined carbohydrates, e.g., skip bacon on white toast, sausages with refined cereal, or ham with packaged bread. Opt for whole grain toast, oatmeal, or veggie-based breakfasts combined with lean proteins like eggs, tofu, fish, or beans. Choose fresh or minimally processed meats, poultry, sparingly if consumed at all, and cook at home using herbs instead of processed sauces. Eliminate sugary breakfast cereals, pastries, and packaged snacks. Even if following a healthful dietary pattern, limit ultra-processed foods strictly, paying close attention to labels for additives, emulsifiers, preservatives, added sugars, and sodium content. 7. What I tell my patients. As a neurologist who treats stroke and cognitive disorders, I'm routinely confronted by patients who unknowingly put their brain health at risk through seemingly innocuous breakfast or snack pairings. They often tell me, I thought bacon was just protein, or inside the packaged cereal box, I didn't expect that sugar. Those misconceptions matter. The science now shows this isn't just theoretical, it's a measurable, cumulative risk with real outcomes, stroke events, and brain aging. My message is simple: the combination is the key culprit. You may tolerate one slice of processed ham once a week, but combine it daily with refined carbs, and you've created metabolic synergy for risk. By contrast, replacing both with whole food choices, oats with fruits and nuts, whole grain toast with avocado, eggs or legumes, breaks that dangerous cycle. When seniors embrace these habits, longitudinal studies show brain health trajectories improve, lower rates of cognitive impairment and stroke. 8. Final thoughts. In sum, the pairing of processed meats and refined carbohydrates represents a high-risk dietary combination that disproportionately affects older adults through additive pathways of hypertension, inflammation, metabolic disruption, and vascular injury. As headlines like, "As a brain doctor, I'm shocked. This food combination increases stroke risk," suggest, the reality is grounded in robust data, not sensation. Stroke prevention isn't just about